I'm sitting there thinking, okay, what do I have to do? What do I have to do? But I cannot deal with the current leader of the United States. He's proven that to me again and again and again. You can't deal with him because you can't trust him. He doesn't say the same thing twice. He'll come at you with one, and Lavrov in one peak of anger summed this up. He'll come at you from every different direction. He'll come at you from Anchorage, and you'll leave Anchorage and you'll think everything has been more or less settled there that really counts, and you'll go away and find he didn't mean a single word of it. Probably doesn't even remember what he said. How do you deal with someone like that? So the only conclusion I can come to, they can come to, is we have to beat them, and beat them without starting the regional and, even worse, God forbid, the global war. That's what they're thinking about right now. That's what they're trying to figure out. And I don't relish their task.
They as in the Iranians?
No, all three of them together. I think there's a lot
China,
of coordination.
Iran,
Yeah, I think there's a lot of coordination going on right now between Moscow, Tehran, and Beijing. And we may think we're privy to it, and we might be privy to some of it, but I would guess that the most serious conversations that are taking place, we are frustrated in being privy to, primarily because I know what the Chinese have done to steal a march on us in terms of communications, satellite, and otherwise, that are guarded and private as opposed to being exposed all the time, because they were exposed prior to about 5-6 years ago. We knew everything they were saying. Frankly, they knew everything we were saying too. I had to send a team to the embassy in Beijing, and the team came back, a bunch of civilians from Texas. They came back and said, "Sir, you are leaking like a sieve inside your classified skiff chamber in your embassy in Beijing. You were leaking like a sieve." So we sent her back with her team to kind of do something about that. Well, we've all been playing that game. Right now, the Chinese are up in that game. So I would guess that we are pondering what is going on between these three powers, and they're having fairly confidential conversations because we are pondering. We don't know how to break into it. And it also has to do with geographic proximity in the sense of those railroads, and in the sense of the Caspian. People forget the Caspian is only about 100 miles from Tehran, and the railroad that comes in from Kazakhstan and goes through, I think it's the mountain town Madran, and goes to Tehran. That there's infinite ways for them to communicate that don't necessarily involve the airwaves. And they're communicating. I think their strategies are looking very much like they know what they're doing, and what they're doing is preventing war with the big guy until it's too late, and then they won't have to do the war, and continuing to march on their own with the sure knowledge that they've got to slow down a bit in certain areas, because our efforts with our proxy war in Ukraine and our efforts with this Southwest Asian war have been somewhat successful in sort of putting a pause on their base road initiative. And that's another thing. These people behind Trump, the Charles Kochs, the Robert Mercers, the Elon Musk, all these people behind Trump with the big bucks, they know what they're doing in terms of their strategic appraisal of this. They're trying to stop China, period.
Yeah.
I don't think Trump knows that. I don't think he's cognizant of that. And they like that. They like that.
There was a report 2 days ago that Russia's doing a lot more than initially assumed in supporting Iran with targeting, with ammunition, with weaponry, etc.
And if you saw the testimony in the Congress of the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, he refused to talk about that. I don't blame him. I wouldn't tell the Congress in open session anyway what my enemy was doing to me to thwart me. But you could tell from his face that there was something there.
It's just that it's things are moving quickly. Within every week, something new happens and something significant. Ships in Egypt, Houthis, Iraq, the US and Saudi bombing Iraq, Iran attacking the Gulf. Actually, what do you make of this one? Iran attacking Jordan and today Kuwait, and 2 days ago Jordan. I wouldn't say unprovoked, but without direct provocation, not tit for tat. So they're preemptively striking the Americans, probably because something on the negotiating table they weren't happy with, or something else happened behind the scenes. But it's not in retaliation to an American attack. It was the Iranians now initiating the attack, changing the rules of engagement. What do you make of that?
I think the attacks on Jordan are deeper than that and more complex and more strategic. The attacks on Jordan are to show the king that he only has a few people on his side and lots of people against him. Some 7 million Palestinians, for example. And Bibi, incidentally, would like nothing better than to have those Palestinians move on Amman and take over the government, take over the state. And then all he would do is push the Palestinians that he's got still trouble with in Gaza and elsewhere on the West Bank, for example, in occupied Jerusalem, on into Jordan with his military forces. And you'd have the Palestinians all in one place, and then you could take care of them. And they'd own Jordan. And Israel would then, once it took care of the Palestinians in Jordan, own Jordan. Sound like a plan? I think Iran is trying to disturb the Palestinians. Remember, they're the only country in the world of significance that is still, both in word and in some respects in deed, on the Palestinian side. I mean, really forcefully on their side. Go back and check their initial words with regard to what's going on right now and their stance in it. Palestinians are part of their issue, part of their defense, if you will. They are defending the Palestinians. Check out Al-Ansar, the Houthis. Same thing with them. They're defending the Palestinians.
But what would the Iranians, how would they benefit from because they benefit from causing issues for the kingdom, because the kingdom is Jordan as a country has become more of like an air defense state for Israel, just intercepting missiles that are heading towards Israel.